everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica and today I will be doing my no-buy update for the month of April. Anyways, it's been a very crazy trip and I'll explain more later, but it was really fun and now I'm back. For those of you who are new here, I've been on a makeup low buy for 2 years and then a no buy for 1 year, and now I am also continuing my no buy, but I'll be changing the rules at the end. So this year I decided to also include clothing and decor items until I got a home, like bought my first home, but that's not happening this year. So I'm just going to get into my empties and purchases first because I did go on a trip and I knew that, and so I planned to allow myself to buy items on this trip because I live in the US and I was going to Hong Kong and Korea this trip, and so I wanted to be able to buy things, especially with all the tariffs. And so I was like, okay, well, because you're going out of the state, you can buy these things, and I made a list and everything in my last video. So yeah, I'll just talk about those first and then go over some other things that are no buy related later on in this video. So starting with my empties, because I only have 2. The first empty I have is my Heroin Make Volume Up Mascara. I am wearing the brown version of this today. This is the black version. And this is not the advanced film, so this one you have to remove using a waterproof mascara. I didn't know that the advanced film was a tubing one, which makes sense. But this is my current favorite mascara. However, I do find that if I sweat a little bit too much, then this just starts to smudge. And I do have oily monolids. My left lid is a double lid just for now because my eye is dry. That's the only time I get a double lid. Otherwise, it's just a monolid. I've been using different formulas from the same Heroin Make line. The brand is Kiss Me. And I feel like they're all kind of the same except for the Volume Up one. That was the only one that I noticed like a significant difference, but they discontinued it. So I'm back to these basic ones. I did buy new mascaras while I was in Korea because like I feel like this, while I do like it, it's kind of like it's the only mascara I can really use. So I want one that actually gives me volume. I don't really care that much about length, but I heard that the lengthening formula for Heroin Make is better than the volume. Is better for like volumizing than the volumizing formula. So I don't know. They all kind of look the same to me, but now I want to try out a mascara that will actually give me volume because I feel like I've gotten longer. I just want to say eye hair, that's kind of gross. I feel like my lashes are longer because I've been taking collagen, so that's been helping. So I want to work on volume more now. I've always wanted more volume in my lashes versus length. But anyway, that's enough rambling. This is like a good base product for me. Like if I can't use another mascara, this one's fine because it holds my Asian lashes, like it holds a curl, and honestly that and it doesn't smudge. Like, well, it didn't before, now it's starting to smudge. So that's pretty much all I could ask for from a mascara with what I'm given to work with. Moving on to the second product, I have this vitamin C Shea Sugar Scrub from Tree Hut. This is the only one I have, and it's cleaned out. I used it right before vacation to exfoliate my body, and I'm sad that they discontinued this, at least in the US. I saw this in Korea for like, it was, okay, in the US this retails for $8.99, or it did. And in Korea it retails for 18,000 won when it's on sale. I think normally it retails for 22,000 won. And the conversion ratio right now is 1,400 won to $1. So it's in the favor of the dollar, but it's still quite pricey. Like it's almost $20 for this in Korea, which I was not about to buy and bring back. So while I did like this one, I got this specifically for the vitamin C one. But since they no longer sell it, I'm just going to get whatever's on sale at TJ Maxx or Marshalls or wherever I find it, as long as it's not open. I did enjoy this. I was considering at one point just switching over to using this, and then they discontinued it. So now I can't. I have a chemical exfoliator that I've been using, so I'm just going to finish that before I decide what to buy next. Moving on to makeup, this is my first time doing such a big haul in a long time. I went to Olive Young in Korea. I visited Jeju. I did not go to Seoul at all. So I flew straight from Hong Kong to Jeju. These items are from both Olive Young and Don Quijote, which is in Hong Kong, and Don Quijote is from Japan. I'm going to go by brand, so starting with the most boring thing first, I wanted to buy new brow products because as you can see, these brow products that I have on right now is just one, it's too dark. And I do prefer my brows to be lighter than my natural hair color, which as you can see is quite dark. It looks black here, but it's actually like really dark brown. I got 3 products from the Kiss Me heavy rotation line. So this is the same brand that makes the mascaras. This is the first product. It is their brow mascara in the shade Ash Brown. And at first I couldn't find it, so I thought they ran out because the way Olive Young is laid out, their products, you have to pull the drawer out and dig for it, and everything's rubber banded together. I don't know why, it just is. And so I thought they didn't have this, but they did, and I got it in the darkest color available. I've heard that the heavy rotation line lasts forever. And then I got 2 kinds of brow pencils. They're pretty much the same color, but I think it's a different formula. So one of them you can actually use as an eyeliner, and the other you can use as is just the brow pencil. So yeah, this is a 2-in-1 eyeliner and brow pencil, and then this is just the regular brow pencil. So I got them to try and have like a convenient 2-in-1 option. So I got the shades Ash Brown, and this is in Japanese so I cannot read it, grayish beige. Hopefully they're a good color match for me, because if they're not, I'm just going to use powder in my brows to darken it up a little bit. And speaking of liners, I picked up 2 of my favorite ones. So this is the Clio Extreme Gel Presso liners, and I currently have this color actually. I think it's called Black Brown, and then this one is Gray Brown. So they're different colors even though it barely looks like it. And I love these liners. Oh, I hope I didn't break it because I just heard something slide. I really like these liners because I've had my current one since February 2022? No, February 2023. It's lasted me since then. I know that might not be the most hygienic thing, but it works. It doesn't smell bad, and I haven't broken out yet. So I'm going to keep using it done anyways. So I decided to get 2 more. Also from Clio, I picked up 2 of their mascaras because I didn't know which one to go with. So I have the Kill Lash in the long and curling, and they always come with 2, so it says 1+1 right here. And then I got the volume curling version. I read reviews online, and people said that this is better than the Kiss Me Heroin Make mascaras, so I'm curious to see how it works. Luckily it comes in a pack of 2. If I don't like it, then I can give the other one to someone else, probably my cousin. I'm just excited to have more mascara options, even though I think I said in the past that I would never stray from the Kiss Me formula, but like the Kiss Me formula I feel like has kind of betrayed me a little by smudging. Next I got the Roman Glasting color in the shades Rose Finch, Deepen More, and Dim Mauve. This one is Rose Finch. It's the one that I swatched in Korea and really liked the color of, or actually the first time. And then these other 2 I picked up on a subsequent trip to Olive Young because I had to go, I think, 8 times to Olive Young because I was looking for certain products that I just couldn't find. So I'm excited about these. These are lip glosses. And then when I went to Don Quijote in Hong Kong, I decided to pick up the tints as well because I was kind of disappointed that I couldn't find too many lip products that I wanted in Korea. So I saw these, and they had exclusive shades to Japan, but it was in Hong Kong, which makes no sense. But I think it's because Don Quixote is from Japan, so maybe it's exclusive to Don Quixote. But I got the shades Bear Grape, which is what they're known for. And then I got Bear Tangerine and Jujube Jam, which are these two. So this is Tangerine and Jujube. And these two were exclusive. And this one is the most popular shade. So I'm excited to try it. Bear Grape is supposed to work on every skin tone, so I guess I'll see. My biggest concern with using lip tints is obviously like that it will be patchy throughout the day. And I think if I just put it on my lips and let it stain and wear off naturally, I can just put a clear lip gloss on my lips for the rest of the day or until the tint runs out and then use the tint again. But that was my thought process when I was buying these. And then we have the one thing that I was really looking forward to, which is the Laka Jelly Nude Gloss. This was one of the only things that I really wanted. Like, if I could not get anything else, this is what I wanted. Something from Laka, because I really like what the brand stands for. It's supposed to be gender neutral, and I wore a Laka lipstick on my wedding day, which I no longer have because it expired. And oh, this expires in 2007. That's in 2 years. Good to know. I'm probably gonna toss the box before then. This was the only product I could actually purchase because, yeah, it was just really hard to find Laka because it's not a popular brand. In Korea, I think Romand is more popular. Peri Para is. Etude House, although that one wasn't even that popular at Olive Young. Like, you had to go to the actual store. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, the products that I saw like in 2019 and 2014, they're not popular anymore. I really liked their lipsticks, so I wanted to get a lip gloss to try it out because I'd seen it online before and I love lip gloss. I go through it so fast. Well, I used to go through it really quickly. I'm wearing it right now. I think it's much easier to wear than lipstick. Like, it's moisturizing and you don't really have to think too hard about how it wears off because it would just wear off naturally. I would open it, but I don't really want to. But this is the color that it is. And the last product, this was not on my list. I actually ended up picking this up because I could not find the Laka lipstick, and this was the closest thing to it. This is the 3CE Cashmere Hug lipstick in the shade beige, no, in the shade taupe beige. So this is the closest thing I could find formula-wise to the Laka lipsticks, which were a gel formula. So it appeared matte, but it was very soft on the lips. And so I bought this one instead because I couldn't find it. And I decided to only get one because of my track record with lipsticks. I actually decluttered a lot of lipsticks before going to Korea because they smelled funny. Like, they smelled off. I have not bought lipstick in over a year, and I think a lot of my lipsticks were closer to at least 2 years old. So that's why I decided to declutter them and only get one to replace it, and it's not a red lipstick. That was everything for my empties and my purchases, and now I'm going to talk very briefly or give like a quick summary of my Asia trip. At the end of March, I decided to go to Asia with my in-laws. So my husband and his family were already planning on going, and then he asked me if I wanted to go, and I said yes. And so we were originally only going to spend a week, and it's across the water from Hong Kong. When we were looking, I saw on a map that Jeju is really close to Hong Kong. Really close, as in like it's 3 hours away. And I saw that there were direct flights to Jeju, so we booked a flight to Jeju as well, and we decided to stay for a week before going back to Hong Kong and flying back to the US. Because if you don't know this, Jeju is an island that's south of South Korea, and the only way to get to it from Korea is to transfer twice. So you either have to fly to Busan and then take the train up, or fly up to Seoul and then back to the US, or you can take a plane to the Gimpo Airport, I'm probably saying it wrong, and then to Seoul and then to the US. So either way, you had to transfer a lot of times, and I figured why not just stay in Hong Kong for 3 days before we fly back to the US, because I had never been to Hong Kong before. I had actually never been to any of the cities I'm going to mention, so it was quite fun going to all these new places. So yeah, we spent like a week, and before I went, I was told by someone who lived there for a good chunk of her life that it's a place you only really visit if you have family. So I wasn't expecting too much, and to be honest, that's very true. I feel like there's nothing really big to do there. And then on our last day there, we went to Macau for 10 hours because I didn't plan Macau out. My in-laws just decided like, let's go to Macau last minute, and we were flying out the next morning at 2 a.m. So we went to Macau and then Hong Kong. But in Macau we spent 10 hours. I got to see the ruins of St. Paul, which were really interesting because I had no idea there was a church that old in China. But it makes sense because it was built in the 1600s, and there's been European contact since at least 1200 something. I would like to learn the history of Macau later on. I know there's obviously a lot of Portuguese influence, if you could call it that. I was also able to try a Portuguese egg tart for the very first time. We went to Lord Stell's, I hope that's how you say it, and I don't think I liked it that much, to be honest, because I don't really like the taste of dairy. Like, even though I'm on the thicker side, I do not really like cheese or milk. Actually, milk makes me really nauseous. Anyways, so then we went to the airport and we flew out at 2 a.m. to Korea. Jeju was my favorite part of the whole trip because I feel like that's when my vacation really started. No offense, but like when you're vacationing with family, it's not really a vacation, if you know what I mean. At least if you're from an Asian family, you know what I mean. Anyways, if I were to compare Jeju to Seoul, which is like a big city that a lot of, not big city, it's like the capital of South Korea, and it's like a place that a lot of people go to visit in South Korea for the first time. I personally don't really like Seoul that much. I know it's safe there. Like, there's a bunch of cameras everywhere, no one's gonna do anything, but I just don't feel welcome. Like, almost every single shopkeeper or like restaurant owner or store owner was really rude. It's kind of like, what the hell, I didn't do anything, you know? Like, I just stepped in and you're giving me attitude. Obviously not everyone is like that, but getting that from like people in the service industry kind of sucks because, you know, they're supposed to be nice to you. Don't you want my money? Kind of thing. Like, why are you judging me? I knew when I visited Seoul in 2019 that like I could not speak Mandarin. Like, if I spoke Mandarin, that was like the instant that like everyone would treat you differently because they don't like mainlanders, which a lot of countries don't. I understand that, but I'm not a mainlander. Yeah, anyways, I did not enjoy Seoul, but Jeju, I love Jeju. I miss everything about it. The people were so nice, and you know, if you were struggling to communicate, they would use basic English and also like use a translator to talk to you, and if you could speak Mandarin, they would speak Mandarin to you, but they wouldn't like judge you because you spoke Mandarin. They just used it, you know, as a form of communication. I already miss Jeju. It's an amazing island with a rich culture and a rich history that I feel like doesn't really get talked about. I went to the Jeju Haneo Museum. Probably butchered that too. I highly recommend Jeju. If you're thinking of going to Korea, go to Jeju. Especially if you've already been to South Korea, go to Jeju. I feel like Jeju is truly the Hawaii of South Korea. I miss everything about it. Like, the food was so good. Of course, it's seafood. They're known for their halabong, which is a tangerine. I was looking forward to trying it. It's probably not as good as I thought it was going to be because it's not tangerine season. But I personally like satsumas more. I wanted to go cafe hopping, which is like a big thing in Seoul, I believe. But I don't know if it's just because it's Jeju and it's more touristy, but everything was really expensive. Like, a drink cost 10,000 won, which is a little over $7 US. My body was also not used to caffeine after not drinking coffee for a while. So yeah, I only got like, I think we could only go to one cafe at a time. And also, after my first day of having a lot of sugar, after not having sugar for a while, I feel like I really suffered because I'm actually pre-diabetic, so I shouldn't have that much sugar. And after just eating sweet pastries and then having cake and having like a sweet drink, my body was kind of just like not having it. So for Jeju, we spent most of our time on the north side of the island. So the most south we went was the Osolok Tea Museum, which is a very popular place that people go for photos and to get green tea products. I believe Osolok provides tea for the entire country of South Korea, which is amazing. And we bought some to bring back and it's delicious. So I highly recommend going. Even if you don't like tea, you'll like tea. Like, you'll like something there. We went there, we went to Udo Island, which is Peanut Island on the east side of Jeju. And that was about, I think, the furthest south we went, which was Osolok, which is not that far south. So we didn't touch the bottom of Jeju at all. It was literally just the top half. But I think the next time we go, we're going to go to the south half because there's plenty of things to do there as well. There's a lot of hiking. There's a night market there. There's a night market in the north as well. We rented a car, which I highly recommend that you do unless you are spending a lot of time in the city. Don't drive in the city. It is absolute chaos. We really liked the more quiet side, like the countryside of Jeju. And despite my MBTI putting me as an extrovert, I just took it this morning to confirm my MBTI. I got ENFJA. I always flip-flop my middle two letters, but my last two letters are always E and J. I don't really enjoy crowds. I don't think I'm actually an extrovert because I prefer animals over people most of the time. The way this test is formulated, it's like, do you like talking to people? And it's like, yeah, I don't mind talking to people, but I'm not gonna go up to everyone and start talking to them. But if someone's talking to me, then I'll hold a conversation pretty well, but I'm not going to really go out of my way to... That's not true. Like at work, I would go out of my way to introduce myself to someone who's new, but I wouldn't do it on the train to some random person. Oh yeah, we were supposed to hike Halesan, which is like the tallest mountain in Korea, and it's not even that tall. But we were going to do the full 11-mile hike to the peak and then back down. But it's 11 hours. And the week prior, we had not really been moving. We were mostly going around and eating. We decided that we weren't going to do the full hike. And my husband injured his foot the night before we were supposed to fly. We did still go to Halesan and do a shorter hike, but it was like I think a 2-hour hike instead of an 11-hour hike. And then we went back to Hong Kong to spend our last 3 days before going back to the US. I had never been to Hong Kong before, but I used to watch Bub's Beauty and she lived in Hong Kong. It looked like an interesting city. They say Hong Kong is known for shopping, and I can see why. There's just like stores everywhere. You have to see a store whenever you are just walking in your daily life. Like, there's always high-end stores, and there's always like streets where vendors have set up shop in the middle of the street. But going from Jeju to Hong Kong was a little bit of a shock in multiple ways. For example, the tourists in Hong Kong are so badly behaved. If I'm a local, I would be so annoyed. And honestly, I think that's why they say that Hong Kongers are the meanest people in East Asia. I don't think that's true. I think it's just like a product of the environment, because the Hongkongers that we met were very nice. We were cut so many times. Like, line cutting is a real thing. It's a real thing in China. But I'm not talking about just Chinese tourists doing it. I'm talking about other tourists, like tourists from other countries doing it as well. Like, it was really annoying because I am a stickler for rules. But also, Hong Kong was a 24-hour sauna simulator. Like, the instant I left my hotel room, I would have a sweat mustache. It was 80 degrees in Hong Kong and over 80% humidity in Hong Kong. Like, it was crazy. The difference in temperature between night and day was less than 10 degrees. Like, it was 5 degrees of a difference. It was crazy. So I sweat a lot, and every day that we were in Hong Kong, we unintentionally would walk over 20,000 steps because you just have to walk a lot. The way the metro is laid out, you have to walk through, I think it's buried pretty deep down, so you have to go through at least 3 sets of escalators, and then when you come back up you have to go through another 3, and then you have to go through the street to get to wherever you are. I think that the metro is really efficient. I really like it. Like, it's clean and you feel safe there. And they also have people helping out like tourists and maybe people who are new to Hong Kong, and guide them to whichever station. And people in Hong Kong can speak 3 languages. They can speak Mandarin, they can speak Cantonese, which is the preferred language by the way, and they can speak English, which is wild because my Americanized ass could never. I can barely speak English sometimes. Like, the 3 languages that I learned were Mandarin, English, and a little bit of Spanish, but like my Spanish is pretty bad because I stopped learning when I was in 10th grade. My Chinese is definitely, like my Mandarin is definitely better now than it was before the trip, but I still struggle with it. So yeah, I only went to 2 years of Chinese school, and so like my Chinese is terrible. I cannot read, I cannot write, and I can barely speak, but I can understand. So I think that's the most important part. Understanding when your relatives are talking shit about you. Despite everything, I did enjoy Hong Kong. I think it's an amazing city. Like, you can definitely see the mix of East and West. I would want to go back. I think there's still a lot left to explore. We just did like some basic things, like we hiked Victoria Peak. We did an afternoon tea. We got egg tarts. And of course we went shopping. We went to Don Quixote, which is, they call it the Walmart of Japan, but I think that's a disservice to Don Quixote. It's like the Costco of Japan, but if Costco did not sell things in bulk. So kind of like that. We stayed on the island side instead of TST, I think, which is short for something else. I forgot what it's called, and I don't want to butcher it on the screen. But I recommend, if you're going to Hong Kong and you want to avoid crowds, which is pretty damn near impossible in Hong Kong, you should stay on the island side because that is the less touristy side. And honestly, it only takes like, I don't know, 5 minutes to cross to either side via the metro, so it doesn't really matter which side you stay on, but there are a lot more things to do on TST than the island side. While Asia was amazing, some things did happen there. It was quite the roller coaster of a vacation. Yeah, something happened our first night in Korea, and before I get to it, I just wanted to say that my 3 biggest goals for this year were to buy a house, to get ready for having a kid, and to pass, that was my stomach, and to pass my career exams. And well, the first 2 are out of the picture because our first night in Korea we got some pretty bad news. We're not really able to purchase a home, and I don't really want to have kids because we don't have a home yet, or like we don't have a house yet. Right now we live in an apartment, and it's 2 bedrooms, but we use one of our rooms as an office. I guess we could sacrifice the other room, but I'd rather not work in the living room or in, you know, the bedroom. And I know after you have a kid it's much harder to do certain things like remodel a house and stuff like that, and my preference for houses is like older houses which would require remodeling. We're delaying both of those, which is not a big deal. And also, I still don't feel mentally ready for a kid. Like, I enjoy playing video games late into the night too much still, and I do have a potty mouth. I used to work in construction, and so that's where I got my potty mouth from. And then, you know, all these YouTube videos that I watch of people gaming, of course they also have potty mouths, so it's just like, I don't want a toddler running around screaming holy fucking shit at the top of their lungs, you know? So I'm just not ready. But one thing I have been working on is my patience, because when I was a kid I used to be very patient, but you know, throughout time I got jaded and just impatient with everybody and everything. But I've noticed that my patience has definitely gone up in the past few months. The word isn't patience, but just to be more tolerant and not to get mad at everything so easily, even though my genetics tell me that I am a hothead at heart. I feel like I do get mad easily, but like I'm not like truly angry. Like I just yell easily, but I'm not mad. But that's still bad for a kid, so I need to work on that. On the last day that we were in Asia, in Hong Kong, I got an email that said that I've been approved to take my career exams, and that means that I can start studying soon and take these tests, which I am both excited for and dreading at the same time, because it's been a while since I last studied for anything. So I have a lot of studying to do, but I'm also excited because if I pass this exam, I get a pay bump and I get to move up in my career. Like, I can qualify to be a manager. I'm going to try and take these tests as soon as possible, but I also do not want to fail. So I'm going to try and take them as soon as possible. Like, I'm going to try and schedule them to a time when I think I'm ready. Yeah, I have to spend more money to buy these test books. Luckily, my work will reimburse the cost of the exams and some of the study material, but only if I pass the first time. They will only reimburse it once, so they reimburse you when you pass. I'm going to be very busy for the next few months studying. I feel like my no-buys are more successful when I'm too busy to think about things to buy. Like when I was in college and I did my no-buy, it was so easy because I had to like worry about school the whole time. Still financially stable, but I think I'm going to extend my no-buy into other categories of my life. I'm probably going to stop buying everything that is non-essential except for video games. That will be the one category I will allow myself to buy something in. So maybe I'm pretty much set on everything in my life. The only things I can think of needing to buy would be like food and transportation and things like that. Obviously presents for other people for their birthdays if they ask for it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a month. Bye!